Hello, Realtors. Welcome to episode number 315 of your SCR Live Updates. I'm Nick Kremydas. I'm your host. And we're not live today. This will air on Monday during our normal slot at around, around 11:30, Mike. Is that when we'll post this? But we're recording it today. We're a couple of days before. It's Thursday, December the 14th, and it's a couple hours before the SCR inaugural Gala and Awards program that's being held tonight here in Columbia, South Carolina. We're going to be honoring some wonderful realtors from across the state and also inducting the officers and directors for 2024. With me, I have a special guest today. He needs no introduction, I know, but Rob Woodul. Rob, thank you for hanging out with me this afternoon.
Well, thank you. It only took 315 episodes before I could get on here. So, I mean, I wore you down, finally got on.
Well, there's a reason we're recording it and we're not live, so that we can take anything out and edit that we need, right, Mike? But we wanted to just give an opportunity for our members to hear from Rob as we recap the year. Here we are just a few days before the big holiday of the year, and I know our members are busy wrapping up not only year-end business, but family issues and affairs and gatherings and all the fun stuff that goes into the holidays. And, you know, we started the year, you know, it's hard to believe now. Now, keep in mind, as president, Rob just didn't come in out of the blue, right? You've been involved with SCR and your local association for a long time.
Yeah, probably over 21 years of being involved with some form of leadership, either at the local level, state level, and then some at the national level.
Well, and you know, the serving as president of the association is really a culmination of years of leadership involvement. And it certainly has been a treat this year. You know, we started a year ago planning to have our orientation meeting in Washington. Remember?
That's correct. We were looking forward to being, really the first full time back in D.C. And we had a little bit of a hiccup.
Yeah, there was some kind of technical glitch with the airline services, right? All the flights got canceled, and only your president and a couple of others actually made it to Washington, only to find out that no one else was going to be there.
That's right. When we flew into D.C. and there's no planes flying at one of the busiest airports in the United States, it's kind of eerie because it was they actually had to move a parked plane so we could deplane. Well,
and of course we pivoted, we improvised, we later held executive committee orientation meeting a couple of weeks later in Columbia. It seemed to kind of become a theme for the year, right? Facing challenges and then pivoting to address those challenges. Do you remember the very first local association we visited in January?
The very first one? I thought it was Columbia.
It was actually the Greenwood Association.
Oh, that's right.
Realtors.
Yep.
We were there right after the New Year's Eve celebrations. It was our very first board
That
visit.
was like January 4th, I think.
That's right.
It was, yeah.
And we got to meet with Catherine West, the association executive, and her leadership team. And it really started the year off on the right note, because your theme of outreach and being what? What's your catchphrase?
Be the example.
Being the leadership example. And Rob set that example by spending countless hours on the road. And I don't know, did you calculate how many miles you put on your vehicle this year?
One more than Cindy ever thought about. Yeah.
All right, you heard that. Incoming President Rhea's got a challenge.
There you go.
Here in front of her. And you know, with Rhea living up in Seneca, she might be able to beat you on those.
She is in the far corner of the great state of South Carolina, and she will definitely be putting some miles on her Highlander.
Just looking at the early part of the year, we had our Leadership Academy, where you led a discussion with the Academy class of, I don't want to say rookie realtors, but realtors who wanted to grow their leadership experience. As I know you met with that class several times. We saw them graduate in Savannah. What's your take on future leadership? How do you feel about that in South Carolina?
Well, I feel great. One of our missions, our goals this year was to find the next generational leader, and this group had already been selected the year before, and everyone was so engaging and wanting to. And it's not just for SCR, but go back to their local association and help lead them through, which we now know has been a year of transition or the headwinds of change. And they stepped up and have done a fantastic job, and really saying, okay, I'm here. I'll raise my hand. I'm going to stand up and serve, and I'll be that example of that next generational leader. So it's good. And then we've just selected our new class, and looking forward to that as well.
We've got the first program coming up in January. In addition to Rob's service at the state and national level, he also served on a couple of real estate commission task forces, right?
That's right.
The Real Estate Commission was looking at being proactive in the areas of finance and education, and what were some of your takeaways from the interaction with our government officials, Rob?
Having to work on that, it kind of pulled the veil back a little bit of seeing test scores and how people are take tests and what they're having to do, and it was startling because I was afraid they're going to ask me to take the test again and the broker's exam. But it really peeled back to see where we need to get better. And the great part about that is that the Real Estate Commission wanted us to be a part of it, and we wanted to be a part of it, and we worked hand in hand. I think never like we've never done before. I mean, it's been such a collaborative effort to really look at, when we say raise the bar, make some changes to education. We really dug into doing that, and then you were on the task force. You were tasked with go find the money or get the money and how to spend the money. So I'm really excited to see what's going to come out of that. I know the Real Estate Commission is really looking forward to making sure that the realtors that are out there, the licensees that are out there, are the best educated, the best trained, and if not, then then some people don't have to be in real estate.
That's right, and I think you're right, Rob. We've seen a more proactive Real Estate Commission than any time during my career, and it's been a welcome exercise, and I think it's going to result in some very positive changes. We're going to see some legislative initiatives that come out of that. We'll probably see some of that early in January, so I'm looking forward to getting those balls moving forward through the legislative and regulatory process. But speaking of task forces and work groups, you're no stranger. President Rob here has had the honor of appointing more presidential advisory groups and task forces than probably ever any president in SCR history. So congratulations.
And condolences to the people that I asked to serve. I know, I'm in all seriousness.
We tackle some pretty serious
issues. I was
issues.
just getting ready to say, we had our strategic plan of what we wanted to do, and we felt like this was a good year to go, okay, if we could wave a magic wand, if we could really strengthen our association. Now, we come from a good place, a place of healthy and stand on the shoulders of the leaders that came before us. But to make sure that we as association continue to grow and to continue to thrive, it was important to put these task force together, as well as getting buy-in from local associations and say, okay, this is where we're going. What do you think about this? How can we work together and really move the ball for us? And I think it's
in the topics we tackled through these special work groups. It's almost like you had a magic 8-ball at the beginning of the year and knew that we were going to need to strengthen our legal advocacy and strengthen our communications and strengthen our governance at the local and state level as the year has turned out. Obviously, we've seen these class action lawsuits that have impacted our industry across the country, And these issues that we're tackling through these work groups, that implementation will begin here in the new year. I believe it's almost like you had some foresight here.
I wish I could say that. I think it was a collaboration of not just volunteer leadership, but staff. The staff has been incredible because they see issues. We see things, but they also see industry things. And I think it was a collaboration of all of us working together and say, wait a minute, we need this. We need the communication piece is so key of getting out of what we do, not just to our members, but also to the public. And then with the legal, we live in a litigious society, as you know, and making sure that we're protecting our members, and our associations.
Absolutely. The year went on. We had a very involved what we called our leadership tour, where Rob and the other officers of the association met with the leadership of all 15 of our local associations. What was that experience? I know that was the second time you did that, Rob.
Yeah, that was the second time. It takes about 2 weeks of travel time, but it's something that I think has been so rewarding for me. Even though it was the second, we went to a listening tour the first time, and this year was really looking for that next leader and encouraging leadership, encouraging involvement, and being able to listen to local association members, their board of directors, and the AEs of what they're dealing with. It was very eye-opening for me, and I think it translated back that, okay, hey, we want you to step forward. We need you to step forward. And a lot of people said, okay, I'll do it and be involved.
A couple of highlights for me this year in working with Rob and the leadership team. One of the culminations of a years-long project was the Region 4 conference in Savannah, getting the 4 states together for the first time since 1940-something.
Strom Thurmond was
governor, I think, or maybe in high school, I don't know. And we...
he was going to ride a train. He was going to ride the train to it.
Yeah, that's right. We had train schedules all ready for that. But in between all of that, any planning that you do in any given year, even the best of plans, you're going to face some challenges along the way. And this summer, we certainly were faced with a number of challenges from our national association, dealing with things from harassment issues and culture issues to these class action lawsuits that we've been talking so much about. And our members had questions. They wanted information. We weren't getting necessarily as much information as we wanted from our national association. So Rob and I went on the road again, meeting with members at membership meetings and company meetings and all across the state. And I've got to tell you, having that FaceTime and communicating with members, answering the questions that we could answer and letting them know that, we don't have all the information on some of this stuff, but just being transparent and honest and out front with these issues, I think was critical this year in building those relationships across the state.
I think it went a long way, and Nick and I kind of had this, if it was 4 people, or 2 people, we'd go, but we were able to crisscross the state, and I think you did more than I did because sometimes I couldn't make it, but and I give you kudos because you have been the one that said, raise your hand, I'll go anywhere, I'll talk to anybody, and I may not have all the answers, but I'm willing to stand here in front of you and say, this is what I know, and I think that went a long way for our membership. I know it was great for me to be a part of that, and just meet the members where they are.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'll share this with everybody. One of my proudest moments this year watching Rob on that presidential stage was during the legislative session when we had that special press conference promoting the financial impact that short-term rentals had on South Carolina's economy. And we were in the rotunda in the main lobby there of the State House, and you did an amazing job leading that press conference and with legislators and elected officials.
And bipartisan. I mean, we had both sides of the aisle there going, this is impacting us. It impacts our state, and it's a revenue source that that we can't ignore. And they listened, and they were championing our cause, and it was incredible.
Absolutely. Rob, what was one of your takeaway? What was one of your highlights? I know it's hard to put your finger on just one thing, but what would be one of your highlights?
You know, I'll go back to being with the members across the state. It was that was for me listening and you know, I think it's part of being a leader is to look out in the audience, and I'm just using that figuratively, but to see something in someone that maybe they don't see in themselves and encourage them to get into leadership, or to be a part of a committee and looking, you know, going across the state and looking out at all the people that we spoke to and talked to, and them wanting to be a part of it. Or it was like, well, if he can do it, anybody can do it.
That's right. So. Yeah, it's being the example, right?
Yes, being the example.
Going back to the very beginning. So as we get close to wrapping this up, Rob, you've had a tremendous year as president. Next year you'll be serving as the immediate past president, and you're not going away, still be a very involved member of the executive committee and board of directors. What are some final thoughts that you would want to share with our membership as we wrap this up today?
I think first and foremost, our incredible staff that we have at SCR, South Carolina Realtors, they, no matter what crazy idea we come up with, they figure out a way, if it's viable, to work. And getting to work with you and spend time with you, and our phone calls that we have either late at night or sometimes early in the morning, and you know, those will be some things that I cherish. And I'd also say that, you know, Patty Scarfile said something this time last year that has always resonated with me, and that, you know, we may not be able to change the world, but we can change someone's lives. And realtors get to change people's lives, and they help them make really good decisions about home ownership. And I think sometimes we forget that as realtors. You know, we're trying to get through the repair addendum, we're trying to clean up the CO 100, and we don't sit back and go, you know what, I helped that person make a really good investment. I put, you know, a roof over their head, because, you know, it's one of the big three. And I always say this, you know, food, shelter, and clothing, and we get to help them with shelter. And that's something that we should be proud of, and tell our own story, and just enjoy it.
Well, thank you, Rob, and thank you for your service. We've been proud to serve you as your SCR staff this year, and I know you've made a big impact on our membership across the state, and will leave a lasting legacy. We've got a lot of what, you know, one of the cool things about working with great leadership is they know that their time in a particular spot or position or office is limited. But that doesn't mean the project, the issue, the topic that we're working on doesn't mean it ends with them leaving that position. And the initiatives that we've been running for the last couple of years, and that you've continued this year, will continue to have a long-lasting impact on the association. So with that, I think we're going to wrap it up, Mike. Appreciate everyone checking in with us. Again, this will be recorded and not live, but we'll be back live here soon. In the meantime, I'm going to give Rob an uncomfortable hug as we leave here, and wish all of you happy holidays and Merry Christmas. We'll catch up again with you real soon. Take care.